All right. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Hi, welcome to this episode of the Football Trio. I wish I had a sound or horn or something to like scream. I think I have applause. Yeah, yeah. There you go. Hey. All right. How is everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well out there in the world. Hope you're doing very well out there. Thank you for joining and keeping our rendezvous. We really appreciate it. Football Trio episode 1.13. We are here to preview the CAF AFCON 2023 quarterfinals, the round of eight. So, how do we do this? With me today, I have football analyst, as always, none other than Tru3lion. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, good day.
All
Good day,
right.
everyone. I'm doing fine, man. Thanks for asking.
It's a pleasure to have you on, as always, Tru3lion. And Tru3lion is joined by none other than Sir Ajab himself, the human encyclopedia of football. Ajab, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. I'm doing just fine. How are you?
Doing pretty good, doing pretty good. So, the 2023 AFCON tournament has been filled with upsets. We now have confirmation that favorites, Morocco, for example, defending champions, Senegal, and record winners, Egypt, are all out of the tournament before the quarterfinals. I think this is probably the first time that has ever happened, no? Um, so let's talk about the last eight that are standing. Let's preview what their chances really are and see if we can maybe update our predictions for winner of the tournament because we had that conversation prior to the tournament starting where we previewed everybody's chances. And it's such a fun thing to see and it's good for African football, right? So let's start off by talking how we got here, how we got to the last eight. I know that we have not had any shows, to talk about the last round of play. So let's kick off quickly with a review of those games, and then we go into how we got here in the last eight standing, and then we talk more about what we should expect starting tomorrow. Well, it's just Friday and Saturday, and then we should be back again to talk through some of these games. Jab, you want to go first? How did you see Angola making it through? Namibia finally gave up the ghost there. South Africa was imperial ahead of Morocco. I mean, let's talk. What say you?
Yeah, you know what? This is going to be my last ever AFCON. I'm going to do any pre-tournament predictions or any favorites. Yeah, it's going to be my last. I'm just going to sit, watch, analyze to the best of my ability after the games, and then I chill, just enjoy the game of soccer because it's been hell. I don't think if there's anyone who told you that the predictions are moving as they planned, they are lying. They are lying. Yeah. Some people will be like, whoa, they want underdogs to win, but it's just because they want underdogs to be there, not actually because they thought underdogs could actually pull out the strings. And there's something very interesting. This is the first time in the history of the AFCON that all eight teams from the previous quarterfinals are absent in the last eight
The last
of
eight.
the following. So everyone who was in the quarterfinals in Cameroon, right? Everyone who
Mhm.
was in the quarterfinals in Cameroon, you have Cameroon, you have Gambia, you have Morocco, you have Egypt, you have Tunisia, you have Burkina Faso, you have Senegal, and who else? All eight teams are out. And sorry, Senegal, Equatorial Guinea. All eight of them are out. We have new eight teams participating in the quarterfinals of this edition of the African Cup of Nations. So I don't know. Is I don't know if this is a signal that there's something cooking around or that there's a wind of change in terms of African football about the powerhouses in African football. I don't know if it's that there's a wind of change, or I don't know if I'll wait until AFCON 2025 in Morocco to see if there's going to be some consistency. Then I make up then I confirm that actually there's a wind of change, or this is just a one-off shock. So that's where I'm looking at. But in terms of the teams that are making it to the quarterfinals, I don't think any team got there by luck. You know, sometimes you have a team that dominates like 80% possession, has about eight scoring chances, and then the team gets one and score, and then they make it to the quarterfinals. I don't think that has happened this time. Cape Verde won Mauritania by 1 goal to 0, a penalty in like the 90th minute, but they dominated the game. So it wasn't like Mauritania was better off. It was a good end-to-end high intensity game, but Cape Verde was dominant. Senegal versus Ivory Coast. I watched that game again just so that I should look at how the game. Senegal wasn't poor. Ivory Coast was just really good. So I don't think Senegal has an issue going back thinking they messed up or something because Ivory Coast was just really good. I watched that game again. Senegal was not horrible. Ivory Coast was just good. And then you look at Nigeria versus Cameroon. Nigeria had a reason to make it to the quarterfinals. They played the game. The coach had his plan in mind to sit back with three center backs, and then you have wing backs which are defending when on the counter, so making the wing Cameroon wingers look very stupid and limited, And then you have the other game. You have South Africa versus Morocco. South Africa playing for 90 minutes like they just started a game, very physical, trying to always get the first ball, and then things like that. You see South Africa. It gets back to me. I don't know if that factor of 8 of the starting 11 playing from the Melody Sundowns, if it has a role to play the way South Africa is very, I don't know, react to the game and all that. And again, it's Hugo Bros. Hugo Bros always starts the competition slow, and then as we get in the stages of the competition, he's becoming effective. So I don't know if this is the time Hugo Bros is going to prove to us that the 2017 AFCON winning team trophy wasn't a fluke, that he actually knew what he was doing. So let's wait and see what happens. But from the way South Africa played against Morocco, Amrabat even complained about it, that he didn't understand the way these guys were playing. And then what's of it, the guys were not communicating in English, they were communicating in another language. So so that's what Amrabat said after the game. So he said the guys were tireless, that he's never worked himself this much in a game. And then you have the other game. Which other games played again? You have Mali, Burkina Faso. Mali deserved the lead. So I will not go through all the 8 games, but I just wanted to say all teams that made it to the quarterfinals, none of
Deserve to
them
be there.
won. Yeah, none of them had that situation where you see this team are just lucky make this team go for they deserved the victory. Even if the other teams had possession, but they were good enough to soak up that possession and then win the game. So maybe in Egypt and DRC, you can see it's not fluke, but Egypt didn't look that dominant. But in Congo Democratic too came to play football, so that's making you might say fluke. But when it always gets to penalties, anyone could win. That's another reason why I'm saying the Senegal Ivory Coast game is just So
All right.
I will end there for now, and I'll hand it over to True Lion to give some
That's
opinion
right.
about.
True Lion, please get in on the action here. What are your thoughts? The round that just ended, how we find ourselves with these 8 teams, most of them novices to this stage of the tournament. Really, a majority of them. I know we talked throughout the tournament about DR Congo. We've talked about Angola, Cape Verde, but nobody saw them being in the quarterfinals, or at least did you?
Well, you mean from get go? No, but as the tournament progressed, we all saw why they actually made it to the finals. Like in the previous game, when South Africa played Morocco, I actually said that South Africa will go ahead and knock out Morocco. But before the tournament, I think there were already some news about a team like South Africa being a dark horse. At least we had them getting out of the group. But when you see their progression and the confidence with which they play now, a team like Angola, yes, has surprised me a lot. And anybody facing those teams, I mean, at this stage, you never know football going forward. There might be some little inexperience that plays out. But as far as getting here after seeing them play through the group stages, it's fair. We all know they deserve, as I have actually said, they deserve their spots in the quarterfinals, no doubt.
All right, so a tournament of lots of surprises, a tournament with a lot of upsets, and here we go to preview what we should expect this coming weekend. Friday is going to be an amazing day of enthralling football. We have Nigeria facing Angola, and DR Congo will be playing Guinea in the second game for the quarterfinals. And I just wanted us to dive into previewing these games and figuring out. What do you basically just talking through what you guys think is going to happen. I know at beginning of the knockout round, I talked about the Opta supercomputer that had predicted Nigeria winning the tournament. With Morocco out, Egypt out, which other team was also predicted? I think Senegal out. The supercomputer has now massively improved Nigeria's chances of becoming potential winners of the tournament. I think it went from say 20, 12 point something percent of probability to 20 no 38.8% now. So what are your thoughts, guys? Ajab, you want to take this one?
Yeah, the only that's something which most people are not talking about. The fact that Nigeria has made it to the quarterfinals, people still look at Nigeria hasn't really played any team, but they're doing the stuff. And the fact that the coach is not minimizing any team, he played his first game, and the good thing, the only game that Nigeria dominated possession, they didn't win. Every other game that they've won, even 1-0 or 2-0, the opponents dominated possession. So it shows that the coach has his game, his tactics intact. So what's going to happen is this. What's been happening is that even against Benin Bissau, that will look to be the worst team so far in the competition. The coach still decided to stick to his 3-4-3, or let's say 3-4-2-1. So he doesn't want to minimize any team. And if you notice today, he didn't change his words during the how do you call it,
The
pre-match
press conference, yeah.
pre-match conference, blah blah blah. The coach of Angola was the one doing all the talking, saying, "Oh, I know them. I know Osimhen. I know the coach of Nigeria is Portuguese. I'm also Portuguese. I know Lukman. I know Moses. Those guys can't really threat." And no, the coach of Nigeria was just saying, it's a 50-50 chance. We're just going to go there, play our game. Whoever wins, wins. He was still not trying to prove like he's going to treat Angola as an underdog. So from the way Angola and the Angola camp is approaching the game, probably Nigeria now are just going to feel okay. We're going to keep on being the underdogs until we get ourselves to the final. So for some reason, I may be wrong. It's like almost every other game I've been predicting, I may be wrong again this time around. But I think this time around, where people think Nigeria is, I think this is going to be one game where Nigeria is going to sail through easily. It may be like a 3-0, 2-0, 3-0 game. That's how I look at it. But not, I will not say Angola has messed up if they get beaten by 2 goals or 3-1. It's just the way they're going to approach the game. But I see Nigeria winning the game 2-0 or 3-0.
Wow. Wow. 2-0, you say.
Yeah.
That's quite rich. Interesting. Let me get True Lion in on this. True Lion, what are your thoughts really? I want to understand it.
I've really been thinking about this game because Nigeria has not been convincing, even with the game that they played against Cameroon. Yes, they beat Cameroon 2-0, but it did not add up to me, right? Because I didn't see any build up or play from Nigeria coming, building up from the back. They were playing almost like Cameroon, long balls, and relying on Oshimen, who actually did very good. And but for that mistake of Cameroon, I think that game would have gone really tight. So I don't see Nigeria winning by a big score over here. However, you have players like Gelson of Angola. We've seen the way Angola tore apart the defense of Namibia when they played. The first goal was so beautiful. That 1-2 touch, their free kicks, their routines, they know what they want to do. So this is one of those games where I'm going for an upset because it's the first quarterfinals. I'm going for an upset so that when it hits, the whole soccer world will be up and booming. So for me, I'm going for an upset. But what Angola actually needs to do here is that they need to be vigilant. The way I saw Victor Osimhen play against Cameroon, that bro ain't no joke. His movement can destroy any defense and he can turn anything into something. So they have to be watchful. I know they play on that 4-3-3. If Nigeria comes and play the same as they played against Cameroon, allowing the opponents to have the ball, I know Angola at this point, they have nothing to lose. They have already overachieved. So I will go for Angola 2, Nigeria 1. That's my
Okay.
upset.
Angola to Nigeria one. That's amazing. I understand that. You
Sorry.
know, I,
I'm 2-0. Nigeria 2, Angola 0 for me.
okay,
Yeah.
you adjusted your prediction there, which is good. Which is good. So I was just gonna say, Nigeria is 42nd in the FIFA rankings. Angola is 117th in the FIFA rankings. But Angola has already shown in this tournament that they can pick up and play, right? And they can. I mean, the way they took care of Namibia, like you said, Tru3lion, tells me that they have something in the bag. And Angola have proven that they can actually score goals,
Okay,
right?
that's what I wanted to say. I
And
think they scored the most. They've scored the
yes,
most,
they
right?
have scored
Okay.
so many goals in this tournament. They have the highest number of goals in the tournament as a team per se,
Mhm.
and they coming up against a Nigeria team that has conceded very few goals. I think, and with the defense that we all talked about, yeah, only one goal, and with the defense that we all talked about at the beginning of the tournament, that we can trust their midfield and their attack line, but we can't trust that defense and the goalkeeper too much. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards Angola here for an upset too. I will go with you, Tru3lion, on this one. So my pick is Angola and Nigeria maybe bowing out because we can at least continue that theme of upsets in the tournament, right? To confirm that we actually have a brand new champion who hasn't probably touched that trophy in a while. So uh, that's amazing. Thank you guys. Thank you for that. Okay, let's talk about the next game for tomorrow. DR Congo versus Guinea. DR Congo has done an amazing job. They played out an amazing game. Long penalty marathon. Would that affect their chances here? Because even though they've had days of rest, they probably had the toughest quarterfinal game of all the players of all the teams that have qualified because the penalty shootouts went all the way down to the wire. And so I just want to pick your brains here. What are your thoughts, guys? DR Congo getting into the semifinals, or how do you see it? You
Now,
Guinea would do it.
I think this is the end of the road for DR Congo. They are the only team that have actually got into the semifinals. To the quarterfinals without winning the game. When I say without winning the game in 90 minutes, right? Because
Yes,
against
Yeah.
Nigeria they won, but it was on penalties.
that's true.
So they are a team that they don't score that many goals. They good hustlers and all that. But I think Guinea with Girassi, because I think Girassi he was injured. Now he's getting back. He played some minutes last game and all that. So I think Guinea has what it takes with their squad. And when you saw them play that 10-man Guinea play against Cameroon, they made things very, very difficult for Cameroon. So they are a team that has experience and that can go out and beat this Congolese team. However, the Congolese team, they have that fighting spirit. It's not easy to beat a team like Egypt. To beat a team like Egypt, you have to be very, very disciplined. Then one thing we are not talking about, those red cards. Those red cards. Inexperience at this stage, nerves, you have to hold your nerves. Red cards, we have been seeing some red cards coming lately and all that. So players have to hold their nerves. But I largely favor Guinea to go through in this one.
Okay. All right. So DR Congo has beaten Guinea the last three games that they've met in all tournaments. But also, like you said, Tru3lion, DR Congo has tied all their games in the tournament. They tied against Zambia, they tied against Morocco, they tied against Tanzania, and they tied against Egypt in the first 90 minutes. So Ajab, what are your thoughts about this one?
I'm going all for Congo. All for Congo Democratic Republic. All they're gonna win the game. That's how I look at it. I've watched all the games with the exception of Tanzania. I watched the game against Zambia. I watched the game against Morocco, and then I watched the game against Egypt. Like Tru3lion said, they're hustlers. They know that individually they don't have their skill set. But another thing could be they can match up skills with Guinea, but in this case they look a little different. I watched Guinea. It's true you don't judge a team sometimes from the previous game, but I watched Guinea play Equatorial Guinea. They didn't look like they had the one man advantage for the time they had it. They didn't look like until that last minute goal. I don't know. Someone if Equatorial Guinea they were 10 man down and then in swim missed that penalty.
Penalty. That's
Yeah,
right.
they didn't look like they were playing 11 against 10. So I don't know. Maybe they're gonna change. I don't know if Nabi Keita is fully fit now to start. If Gurasi is fully fit to start, or Kamano now can come back and start because last game three of them didn't start against Equatorial Guinea. Kamano came in. Kamano is the guy who was captain for the first day who got the red card
Mhm.
against Cameroon. Yeah, so he came back for the round of 16. He didn't start the game. Gurasi came in to had a good header saved by Owono. Naby Keita came in and you could see some experience in his game, which is good for Guinea. That you have some people coming off the bench who can improve the team, which is good. But the way Congo has been playing, even though they haven't won any game in open play, but I still think that they might hurt Guinea. I'm looking at a game where Congo will be victorious in the game against Guinea. So I see Congo making it to the semifinals.
Okay. All right. So, players to watch for Guy Kekuta in DR Congo and Maswaku. They've been pretty imperial and pretty
Is
good
he, is
for
he
their
fit yet? I know he missed the game against Egypt through injury. Is he fit? Is he
Yeah,
back?
I think he missed it through injury, but I think it was just a knock. I'm not
Okay,
sure that it
perfect.
would keep him out of this game. But
Okay.
those are players that have been really key to DR Congo's ascent and sojourn throughout the tournament.
Don't
I
forget
feel
Wisa. Wisa, the guy for
Wisa,
Brentford.
yeah, there
Wisa
you
has
go.
been
There's
good
also
too. Yeah.
Wisa from Brentford,
Mhm.
right? He always has something up his sleeve. So it's possible that these guys just make it happen against Guinea. And it should be a fun. It would be fun. It definitely will be a fun game to watch. I think.
Mhm.
And so looking forward to it. So now I want us to pivot a little bit before we talk about the games that are on coming up on Saturday. Um, I just want us to pivot a little bit. Um, we have seen the holders in these tournaments go so far sometimes, or the hosts of these tournaments sometimes go so far as to the finals and lose out. Um, when we look at what we have, the last eight that are left, what do you guys immediately see jump out at you? I'm just looking here to see if you guys have, excuse me, a comment just distracted me there. I'm just trying to see here if you guys have like noticed anything at all about the last eight teams that are still standing and the teams that are playing tomorrow. Well, let me kind of guide the conversation. These teams are mostly from sub-Saharan Africa at this point and Southern Africa. What does that say about the state of football in those parts of Africa?
Like I said, I'm not going to rush into conclusions. We have another AFCON coming in about 14 months. Morocco host, I think they said this time in Morocco is going to be in June. That's what
Yes,
they say.
trying to
I don't know if
something.
it's confirmed it's going to be in June next year. But we have an AFCON coming next year. If something not it doesn't have to be like a copy and paste of what's happening now, but let's just have something similar to this, some of those upsets or some of those favorites in quotes, pre-tournament favorites living maybe in the group phase or maybe the round of 16 or even quarterfinals. Then I'll be able to confirm at that point that okay, I think probably football is. But if it just happens this year and you go back next year, it goes back to business. But then I will think that, or maybe it's just a fluke or bet something cooking. But if it happens again next year, then I'm going to be able to say, okay, yes, these people, these minors now think they can pull the strings and they're ready to face, because before they used to have that inferiority complex when they meet those top teams. Now they're coming to meet a team like we're both Africans, we're both nations. I don't care about the FIFA ranking. If you're first and I'm 900, let's go to the field and play. Ndambana for terrain. That's what has been showing this AFCON. So I just want to make sure that maybe what happens in the 2025 AFCON and then also World Cup qualifiers for 2026, then we should be able to come to like a reasonable conclusion that okay, yeah, football is actually taking turns in the continent of Africa. But for now, it's still a very good step that we have teams that we never in any time of our lives could predict them making it to this stage. They are able to make it to that stage convincingly. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not a situation where you have 10 shots on target, your goalkeeper saves two penalties, and then you get one counter, you go score. You have a situation where teams actually make it to the quarterfinals where they deserve to make it to the quarterfinals. So that's how I look at
Okay.
it in terms of the upsets and all that.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, great.
for,
Go ahead, Truna.
Go
yeah,
ahead.
for me, I think there's a shift because when you look at South Africa, you see 9 players, 10 players out of Melody Sundowns, 8 actually starters. You see them in African competitions. You actually see what they are doing. They are very competitive. They have good clubs in their leagues. Then you see at what Musepe is doing, because we forget that Musepe, whose family actually owns, is that the Melody Sundown or Orlando
Yeah.
Pirates?
The own
Me-
Sundowns, yeah.
Melody
Sundowns.
Sundowns,
The Melody
exactly.
Sundowns, yeah.
You see whose family owns Melody Sundowns, and the direction with which he's going with CAF, right? He's actually prioritizing grassroots football. The money The prize money you see they're putting back, most of it will go back to the local leagues in order to improve. So it's encouraging the federations to actually uh, invest in their football and help them invest also in their football. So I think this is a trend that will continue, because when you look at a country like Tanzania, go check out their league, check out the deals they are signing and all that. So yes, there's a shift. But what you will see is that those big nations like Cameroon and all that, it's a wake up call for them. They will not just sit back and look. They will step up their game as well. They were all humiliated. Coaches have been fired. So you expect to see a reaction. And I think next African Cup of Nations gonna be very, very interesting.
That's right. And there's been a lot of talk about this tournament being the best in CAF's history, really. And I think this the fact that the playing field is almost level. We're seeing all these upsets that are so gripping that it's literally sends a cold thing of I don't know how to say it, but it sends things cold down your spine when you see a last minute goal and you think the game is over with 15 seconds to go, and then the team responds. It's that feeling of wow. You can't really describe that type of gripping feeling, right? You just scored a goal and you're like screaming that it's over, and then the opponent scores. It makes for good storylines. It makes for more viewership, and that's something that has helped this tournament. I think helped not only the tournament, but it's also putting Africa on the map in terms of football, right? And so kudos to CAF and Motsepe. I think Ajab, you want to jump in on this too?
Yeah, like what you just said, I will make an like you just mentioned that a team scores at the 95th minute, and then you think all is done. Another team scores at the 98th minute, and normally what happens in this case is that normally we should see Cape Verde scoring at the 95th minute, and then a bigger team like Egypt coming back. But it was the other way around, where you see tournament favorites like Egypt scoring at the 95th minute, and you think it's all done, and then you see Cape Verde comes back from nowhere to tie the game, scoring at the 95th minute. Because normally you see that happening when the smaller teams score, and then they think it's done, and then the bigger teams come back to tie the game. And then secondly, when I was talking about that, maybe waiting for teams like South Africa, I won't really call them small teams because they're teams that have been dominant before they had a setback. Then now they're coming back. I'm talking about maybe the Cape Verdes, the Mauritanias, the Angolas. That's what I'm saying. If they come back again, and then the Cape Verde has been a frequent participant in the AFCON, so they're starting, and the team has been together for maybe about 6 years. So they're starting to show that they're a good group. So let's hopefully bet Motsepe has good plans for CAF football, and it's showing, it's been proven. I thought when he brought up the idea of, or when CAF introduced the idea of having 24 teams as opposed to 16, I thought it was an error. It was going to be some boring things, but the teams that we thought were going to be boring are the teams that have been impressed us the most in terms of the way they play and the confidence they have. So we're looking forward to more interesting years in African football, and why not us making it to the finals in the World Cup pretty soon, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing, and definitely speaks to it. I want to bring in Tru3lion here, to kind of just pick his brain a little bit. Is this laying like a framework for how many African countries should actually approach their football environment, or how they rebuild their football systems? I know that we will segue into Cameroon's situation in a little bit, but what are your thoughts about that? Because I know you've done quite a lot of talking about the state of football in Cameroon. You've put out on 90 and 5. You've put out 90 in 5. Sorry, you've put out quite a few elements or videos that have highlighted some of the places where there's so much more work to be done for Cameroon, especially. What are your thoughts about this being like a blueprint to ensure that Cameroon can rebuild and actually get to a place where we can be proud of its performances again?
Yeah, thanks for asking me that question, because when people talk about football, right, they fail to understand that football has many different levels, right? And
Mhm.
when I explained about the state of Cameroonian football, I try to explain it in two different sectors, right? Where you have long-term goals, where
Mhm.
long-term goals concerns the football governing body, which is FECAFOOT, And long-term goals cannot come into reality if the government or local governments or the communities are not involved in, right? Because faker food cannot actually there are certain facilities for that to grow, like let's say pitches around the nation. We're talking about kids that play the game, so you have to take these grass pitches to the local communities. You see what I'm saying? That's why when
Mhm.
Cameroon organized that African Nations Cup, building stadiums, 40,000, 60,000, for me, in my opinion, that was putting the cart in front of the horse. For me, that was useless. What they should have done earlier is that try to get pitches around the nation, get the fans excited about the game, get kids playing back before you start building 20,000, not even 40,000, but 10, 20,000 stadium, because those stadiums are easy to fill, they're easy to maintain, and then local clubs can use it. But when you build these big stadiums and no one can use it because it's difficult to maintain and all that, then it defeats the purpose. However, what Cameroon needs to do is do it at two levels. Long term, government and FECAFOOT, they work on how to get sponsorship and all that. But short term, they need to get a coach that has vision, somewhat by merit. Like I argued against Rigobert Song, because for me he was not the main guy. Because when you looked at his CV, there's nothing you can hang on and say that yes, let's give this guy, because people are saying that give him 10 years like Aliou Cisse. But let me tell you one thing about the Cameroonian fans: they are not patient enough to give somebody 8 years for one African Cup of Nation. No, it doesn't work like that. Aliou Cisse has been there for 10 years. A lot of people are saying yes, he's doing a good job, but 10 years, one African Cup of Nations, Cameroonians are not that patient. So for me, they should severe part ways with Rigobert Song and look for someone by merit, again by merit. There are so many coaches in Cameroon that can coach. I don't want to hear that where are the coaches. No, we don't need to go looking for expatriates. We have coaches, even local coaches. If you give them the money and you design a pathway where you work with them, believe me, those guys can coach. We have seen it with the Jean Paul Akonos. Why not in John Caps? Why not the guy? What's his name? The Weebles. Why not the? I mean, any other, even Boma. Anybody can coach, but make sure it's by merit.
Okay, let me bring in this here. I want to touch on the point you just raised. So let's compare. Cameroon has had one, two, three, four, five, about 20 coaches in the past 5 or 10 years. Let me just quickly give you a rundown. Pierre Lesange, 3 years. Jean Paul Akono, 2 years. Otto Jorge, 2 years. Ariane, one less than a year. June Younger, less than a year. Otto Pfister, about 2 years. Thomas Nkono, just a few months because he was filling in. Paul Le Guen, 1 year. Javier Clemente, 1 year. Dennis Lavan, 1 year. Clarence Seedorf, just a few months. Hugo Bruce, 2 years. Volke Finke, 1 year. Jean Paul Akono, again, 1 year. Concesao, 2 years. And then Song Rigobert, he's been there now for a few months, maybe a year and a half or so. Now, if you put that side by side with teams like France or Senegal, right? Aliou Cisse has been there for 10 years, like you said. Didier Deschamps has been there for 10 years. The guy with Cape Verde has been there for about 4.5, 5 years. The guy with Angola, even Equatorial Guinea, they've been there above 5 years each. Do you think Cameroonians may just be preempting this whole song thing, or how do we calibrate so we can come back to a point where people can actually be patient, so they can be a full rebuilding effort that will ensure that we can have that success that we need? Ajab, go.
Yeah, I think, yeah, patience is key. Like you just mentioned, Cameroon has more coaches in the last how many years than Chelsea Football Club. Yeah, so patience is key, but you also know that when you're being patient, you have the right resources, right? When you
Hmm.
want to give someone a team to rebuild, you want to make sure that person fits the rebuilding process, fits the profile. So True Lion was saying that, yeah, that there are a lot of coaches. I know I have a very unpopular opinion about Cameroon, to someone who's going to coach Cameroon. The way I look at Cameroon right now is that Cameroon needs, if they want to rebuild, two things I'm going to say first. I don't think if you let me just ask you a quick question or true lie on any of you. If you have to sacrifice between making it to the World Cup or making it to the AFCON, which one will you prefer? To make it to the World Cup or to the AFCON?
The only way I sacrifice not making it to any tournament if I see a path, if I see beautiful football, if I have a vision, that's the only way I sacrifice. For me,
Okay.
I don't mind
No,
not
no,
going
no.
into World Cup African.
That's a really tough.
You're
Yeah,
answering
that's
my
a tough
question.
question.
You're
Just
answering
pick
the,
just
you're
pick
answering the
one.
question like I want to side with Song. No, that's not
Yeah,
what I'm
pick
doing.
pick a
Asking.
side.
Oh no,
Pick
no,
a
no!
side.
That's what. No, I'm
So
answering
you
your question indirectly.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
care about
So
something
the
for
reason
not
the
for
reason
me.
I'm
So
saying
it's gone.
yeah, the reason I'm
all right.
saying this is the reason I'm saying this is that I think if Song actually was in a rebuilding process, this AFCON qualifiers where we had teams like Kenya that stepped down, then Cameroon had Burundi. No, was it Burundi? Yeah, Burundi
Yes.
and then Namibia. That would have been the opportunity to start building. Kids like the Elliot when you call them. Elliot has I don't think Elliot has played more than 10 minutes of football since he joined off. Not he played for about 5 minutes against Mexico and then Mauritius Island when Cameroon was leading or something 2-0. He came in. If you really want to rebuild and you see kids like that you've been able to convince them to leave England, even though maybe they didn't have prospects of ever becoming England as internationals, to join Cameroon, and then you don't put them as part of the rebuilding process, then you're not rebuilding. That's just a fake.
But,
That's just a fake word to make people think that
mm,
there's hope for the future. So, Song is
yeah,
not rebuilding. You understand? So, me, the unpopular opinion I want to say is that if Cameroon wants to rebuild, let them say, okay, we have this plan for the next 5 years. This is my point. It's unpopular. A lot of people will say no. Get a seasoned or experienced or good expatriate, put him at the helm of the national team. Get someone that you think you can build on. Get him to start with the youth team. Move from the youth team to the U23, and in like 3 to 4 years, you give him the senior team. That's how I look at it. Not one person. Get a group of people that could work together from the junior to the under 23 and then to the national team in like the next 2 to 3 to 4 years. Because if we get I know the reason I'm saying this is because if we get someone Cameroonian, I don't know. To me, we're saying the Webos and the dad. Webo is still a young coach. He's an assistant in Turkey. When you're a young coach at that level, you want to be able to be coaching on a day-to-day basis. It's very difficult to convince some of those guys to leave those things that they work on a day-to-day basis to come to a national team where you have maybe 10
yeah,
games in a calendar year. It's very
yeah,
difficult. We're talking about the
yeah.
Webos and the rest.
Nice.
Mboma, I don't know about Mboma's profile. So that's why I was saying people like that should start off maybe from the youth ranks before joining the senior team. That's how I look at it. I may be wrong, but that's how I look at it. To
Yeah,
get a seasoned expatriate to coach the team, try to not really. If you're looking at rebuilding, he should be trying to coach the team, not making even if you're not winning the tournaments, but you can see the team playing some convincing football and maybe not getting out from the group stage or playing some ISO football like we just watched Cameroon play this AFCON. Why are you having someone at the back or some guys at the background building from the junior to the under 23 to the national team? That and then in connection in collaboration with that, we start also growing the local football like the leagues. Maybe start back like the Brazilian Top Cup to be very serious and the UCB Cups. Get back teams like Kaji Sport Academy to get back. They could be able to select players again based on merit and not just those kids who actually pay tuition to learn how to play football. So that's how I look at it.
Okay, can I say something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. One thing we have to remember is the culture
Mhm.
of Cameroon. Again, Cameroon fans are not that patient. This I know. I
Okay.
am one of them. We are not that
Mhm.
patient to wait 5 years, 6 years that we are building. So that's why I said we have to take a look at it at two stages:
Mhm.
short term and long term. Short term, you get someone that can coach a team and you give him the resources in order to coach a team. Then, to your point, Nico, let me tell you why we have gotten about 20 coaches in the space of 10 years
20
or
years,
whatever.
20 years.
You know that Cameroon, the Fika food has been so unstable, where at one point they were suspending ER left, Toba Aroko came, they suspended him and all that. So any new person that came in, caretaker or whatever, this is the business that they do. You know, when you fire a coach, when you let one coach go, when you're hiring the next one, there are bonus percentages that these guys take. So that's how they have been taking their bonuses. That's how they have been making money. So it's a mafia. There's no surprise about that. You see, when Hugo Bros actually won in 2017, who took him out? Who took him out? If you know, it was Samuel Eto'o that took him
Samuel
out.
Eto'o. Samuel
Yes,
Eto'o.
who did he bring? He brought in his friend Clarence Sedoff. Okay. Then when Clarence Sedoff went, because Njoya came in, Njoya came in now. Njoya decided, well, the results were not good also. He took him out. Njoya went and brought Concesao. That's when Samuel Eto'o fell out with Njoya. The Concesao issue. That's how they fell out. You know. Then now, Concesao, he finished third. What happened? The minister said he stays. Eto'o said, no, he's going. Brought in his man now, Rigobertson. So that's just the politics, man. That's what's killing Cameroonian football.
Which is really unfortunate. If you think about it, that's really really unfortunate. All right, let's talk. Let's sample some opinions on the chat here and the comments and see where we are. Let's start with our friend JC. Nico, are you back with this song? All these other countries have been giving their these coaches time because they can see progress and projects these coaches are on. With Song, there's nothing. Okay, that's a fair opinion, and I think I see it. As far as coaching is concerned, JC continues. Song is as empty as an empty can of milk. We have to rebuild, but definitely not with Song. He has nothing to offer. Understood, understood. All right, next is Bitakola, the grill master. This is this. There is this Elokobi guy in England where he's having a fairy tale in the FA Cup run there with his team. Who is a coach? I think that's coach. Not sure what league, but he could be a good fit. That's if he agrees, though. Like I
That's
know, I think Ajab
so.
said something about these coaches not willing to leave their day to days to
Besides
come
that,
and deal with
besides
performance
that,
bond.
if I had the opportunity to hire Alokobi, I wouldn't just bring him into the national team. Alokobi is just making waves now because he's moved, he's succeeded in getting a sixth
His
tier
fairy tale.
team to the round of 16 in the FA. He may be able to be a good coach, but those are the kind of people too that I think that if you want to bring them, start them from the bottom, the
From the
bottom, and
bottom.
then get them up. Don't just go put them there because you put them there, it's gonna turn out in 2 months and 3 months. So when I fire some, bring some, So we don't
Mhm.
want situations like that. So those are people that you have to test them from the youth projects first before you bring them up to senior. Yeah. So
And if you think about it, he's coaching a team called Maidstone
next
United.
time, yeah, it's sixth
The
tier.
average age of the team is, let me just quickly take a look here on transfer market. Average age of the team is 21,
Mhm.
21.7.
Yeah.
So it's not a. I mean, those kids are pretty young, so he
Yeah.
can impose himself and his personality on them. So that's
And
good. All right, let's continue with
he's a
yeah,
former Premier League player, so
Premier
at
League
least he
player
has a
too.
profile
So
too
yeah,
as
it
an EPL
counts.
player too. So
Exactly, that counts.
mhm,
That counts for something.
mhm.
Um, we must call it out. His team stunned Ipswich in the FA Cup win just a couple of days ago, and they've been on this journey, and I think they're going to be meeting Liverpool in the next round. I'm not too sure who they're meeting, but they've done a pretty good job. So let's call it out. He's Cameroonian. Big up, Lockerbie, George Lockerbie.
Yeah.
Next comment is from Song after losing friendly games. Oh, I was not hired to win friendly games. Okay, I'm sure there's more to this comment coming. Let's try. Let's check on Facebook.
No, there's some. I
Let's
think
check on.
check the comments. There's a comment. Someone mentioned something about it's going to be a good clash duel between Gelson and Ola Anai of Nigeria because Gelson plays on the
Oh
left wing.
yeah.
Ona is a right back. Someone
Oh
put
yeah,
some.
yeah, right, yeah, yeah. That's that
Yeah,
comment about the we were talking when we were talking about
yeah.
the previews for Nigeria and
Mhm.
Angola. Gelson Dala versus Aina. That's going to be a fun one to watch. And
Mhm.
then there's going to be Gilberto versus Sanusi, and then Osimen versus Gaspar. That should be
Yeah,
fun.
Casper is
Should be fun.
very physical, like
Yeah,
very physical, but
yeah.
he's not technically, but he's
And
very
Osimen versus
physical. So it's
Gaspar.
going to be a good duel between him and Osimhen. Yeah.
That's right. All right, let's go to Facebook. Facebook, Kizito Mbianda, he will go for Nigeria 2, Angola 1. Montana says Angola 3, Nigeria 2. Kizito adds Nigeria is defensive and plays. Wait, what is that? Yeah, Nigeria is defensive and plays on the counter. They have a prolific striker, Elsiman, who can offset defenses at any time. Okay, and then Montana for the next game, Guinea 2, DR Congo 1. I predict prolongations and possible penalties for Guinea versus Congo. Not sure who's going to triumph at the end. This is Kizito. Next one is Peter AE. Just imagine we had only 16 teams. Masaman for me some good footballing, which is
Yeah,
very correct. Very
yeah.
correct. I like that. And then he points out about the coach. Cameroonians are not naive about football. Cameroonians know who fits the profile. You watch the football and you know if the coach needs time. And he points out why he an expert when it comes to coaching. Enong Gachu already proved his worth in managing a national team. Okay, that's not.
Can I say something about Ngachu? Sorry,
Yeah,
just
go
one
for it.
minute. Ngachu
Go for
was
it.
the coach of the Cameroon women's team, and he did a fantastic job. But
Yes.
he's not been in day-to-day coaching for a little while, because
Okay.
when he did that, when he had that successful run with the women's national team, he was promoted. I would call that promoted in quotes, to go manage Anafoot. It's like the Cameroon Football Academy kind of thing. So
Mhm.
he's not been in the day-to-day coaching for a while. Had it been that he was promoted from the women's team in 2016 or 17 to like the junior national team on the under 23 men's team, then I think he would have been ready now to take over at the helm of
Take
the
over.
senior team. But he's been out of the day-to-day coaching for a while. So
Okay.
bringing him right away now to the national team, like I say, I still want
It will
someone
make
who will
sense.
start, who will bring up a team like when he was coaching the women's team, he started coaching the
Mhm.
guy Monit and Obodi when they were still like 17. He took them like his kids. He used to pay them even and taxi money to go to the training and all that. So he took them like his daughters and brought them up until they had that good run. So I always
And
want
doesn't
the
it
Cameroonians
say?
to start from like the junior team, so that when you come into the national
Mhm.
team, you can point out 2 or 3 or 4 players that you say, okay, now my promotion this. You understand? Song had
Mhm.
some of those players in the under 23, like the Omar Gonzalez, the Tolo Nuo, the Honglas, but I don't see that he's done anything productive with them, you know? So, but
Mhm.
anyways, let me not talk
Yeah,
too much.
isn't there much to say about that? About coaches who really take an interest in some of these players' development, and that which then extends to how the team plays as a whole. Because if you look at a coach who is really interested in a player's development, you can tell that they want to build the team around someone, for example. But when we look at Song, we're not too sure whom he's trying to build his team around, right? And those are some of the things that you keep seeing every day. And of course, like Peter said, Cameroonians are not naive. I believe that if we see some progress, we would be, we would be able to understand that this person needs a little bit of time to reset and adjust his program, and I think we'll buy into it. But right now, that's not the case. So let's just continue exploring these comments and then see if we finally come to some type of agreement, excuse me, on this show where we would say, let's stop beating up on song, and then just preview the next set of games. But more importantly, I want us to understand that this is not like a slight on some Cameroonian football. I think it's important that we have these conversations, right? When you go out and participate in a tournament, you need to do a debrief where you sit down and review your performance and say, did I do well? When you're going somewhere, you have goals to achieve. Now, when you come back from that tournament and you didn't achieve those goals, you have to do an introspection or retrospection or whatever they call it, and then review where you went wrong or where it all went wrong, and then, of course, come up with solutions or action items that will lead you to success in the next outing that you have. So let's explore. There's quite a few comments that are coming through here. I just want to make sure we catch most of them that are relevant to what we're talking about. Okay, don't understand why he was taken out. Enongachu says, okay, I think there's an explanation there that Steve Ajab already gave. Um, so let me see. I think we lost Steve Facebook. Where are those comments?
Yeah, I
Jeez.
think there's one by William Eta. He said, "Good job, guys."
Yeah, good job, guys. Why do we keep putting a blame on Song? The problem is Eto. I think personally that Song without Eto's influence would do better. Okay, even a Lipi under Eto would nothing will work. Okay, seems to be that
Can,
case.
can, can I say something to that?
Go for it.
Yeah, my brother, Mr. Eta, we have seen some at the under 23 level
Without a toast influence, yeah.
without a toes influence. My problem is that when you
And
hire a guy without merit, he has nothing to hold on to. You see, Son was hired without merit. So him himself cannot, but then even when he's at a press conference, he cannot articulate what he's trying to build, the picture he's trying
In
to
French
paint.
or in English? Okay.
Exactly, he cannot articulate. Then imagine him talking to his players. They look at him as, excuse my language, but they don't take him serious. You see what I'm saying? So if the players, because communication is because we talk, if you don't define what success is at the beginning of the tournament, then even the fans will not be in sync. So
Mhm.
his communication is not even there. There's nothing he's actually giving us. So I'm sorry about
All right.
him.
All right, let's run down some of these comments. I know we're coming up on the hour mark, which is a little bit too much for us on the live show, but let's go. Coaching is not just practice. The ability to manage people is very important. Gachu has a personality that manages people, and that's what we all agree on. Being active in coaching is just part of it, can be reignited within a short time. Very true. It's just like jogging or riding a bike. You can always remember those things once you go back to it after a long layoff. Gachu will still do good. Song has resources but can manage. He does not even know how to pass his message across, and I think that's
Yeah,
what
sorry. My point with Cameroon right now, we're not just looking for someone that is a little bit better than Song. We need someone that can actually bring something new to Cameroon. Like revive Cameroon. Not just we want someone who is Song is 20%, then we'll get someone who is 30%. Not something like that. So we don't. We're not just. Let me not say we. Like I'm the one doing hiring for
Mhm.
the position of the coach. I just think Cameroon to be successful or to have like longevity in their projects and to thrive again, they need someone that is actually really good, that has that man management skills, because some people actually are not very good tactically, but the way they manage the players, you think
But
they're genius.
yeah,
Yeah.
but Nico, if I'm
Yes,
gonna be honest with you,
go for it.
like honestly,
Hmm.
I don't see anything good coming out of this, even when Song goes, because the fun is that we in Cameroon, as I told you, the reason why so many coaches were hired, they do things for personal reasons to benefit personal and not for the general well-being. You, 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 you see what I'm saying? It's not
Yeah.
for the general well-being, it's just to benefit certain amount of people. So that's what's actually happening. So I don't actually until I see it happening, because even Anito that you actually thought would do better, he handpicked someone that was his friend, not by merit.
All right.
So let's see what he's gonna do next.
Let's see what happens. Okay. Next comment is from JC. I think JC, you finished one of your comments. You started off earlier. Song after not selecting Chupomoting. I want continuity. After losing friendlies, I was not hired to win friendlies. Song after the rubbish of at the AFCON. Now he says he's rebuilding a team for the future. That's quite true. From one excuse to another, no action to back the nonsense he keeps saying. If you like, give Song 10 years, it will not change or it will only get worse. Sorry about that. All right, next is first time ever Cameroon plays a game with zero shots on target, two shots on only against a team that is a man short. Please, please, please. Song is clueless as a manager. All right, has there been any more comments? I think we have exhausted our time and our comments, and we have lost Ajab. No, I think he's
No, he's
back.
back. He's back.
Okay, hey, good, good, good. All right, gentlemen, we're coming up on the hour mark. I just want to ask you guys for parting words. And of course, tomorrow after the games, we will convene again and go over this process, and of course, preview the games on Saturday, which we didn't get to preview today. But I think this conversation was very important. Like I said, it's important that we keep touching on this subject and let our viewers know that we really care about the state of Cameroonian football because it's in a very, very degraded state at this point, and we don't want to lose out to teams like, I mean, playing 10-man Guinea, man, and you don't even get a shot off against their keeper. That tells you there's something really wrong. This may look like we're beating up on Song on Eto a lot, but no, that's not the case. It's just we're concerned. So we want to see good football on the field, and if it happens, hey, we'll give them their props, right? We talk about other teams that are doing it. Why not Cameroon? So, gentlemen, parting words, parting words. Anything to take home today and what to watch out for tomorrow?
Yeah, some people say football now for win. Football is to win. If you can't play good football, win. Don't play horrible football and lose. You understand? If you can't play good football, play ugly football and win.
All
So
right.
that's the first thing. Second, I just want to thank the viewers, subscribers, and all that. Keep doing what you're doing. Tag a friend who will tag a friend who will tag another friend. That's how we're gonna grow. And we appreciate all your comments. If there's anything that you think we're not doing good, let us know, please. That's how we
Thank
grow.
you. Thank you, Ajab. Thank you so much. Okay, True Lion.
You see, when Eto'o came as president of Feka Food, he said, "Le football au footballeur." What he meant by that is footballers have to benefit from football. But what he fails to understand is that Fekafoot was not built, I mean, the institution to manage football, Fekafoot was not built by a footballer. The most successful president of football, many people might disagree. For me, it's Iya Mohammed. And the
He
reason I
is.
say that
He
is
is.
because of the trophies. Those who want to argue can argue. But trophy wise is Iya Mohammed. And what was he? He was an administrator. So if Eto'o wants to succeed, he has to learn quickly and learn on the job. He has to surround himself with people that can administer and not people
And
that,
people that can help him, not people that
yes,
will listen to him all the time.
exactly,
Yeah.
and not the yesers, the yesers.
Yes.
People that can actually advise him on what to do, because you don't rule a group of men. Yes, because those guys, you can think they're kids at the age of 22, 23, 24, but they manage their contracts and manage their life in their professional. So you cannot come and try to treat an Onana as if he's a kid. You see what I'm saying? Because of personal problems that you have. So if that continues, then I'm sorry, he will be a failure, because most of you guys in your professions, we all are out here in the diaspora and all that. You guys work, you manage, and you know what it takes to manage people, a group of people, team for work. It's about the bigger picture and not your personal interests.
All right. Thank you so much, Tru3lion. Thank you so much for that beat. Thank you, Sir Ajab. I really appreciate it. So the stage is set, ladies and gentlemen, for tomorrow's games. Nigeria versus Angola, 12 p.m. Eastern. DR Congo versus Guinea at 3 p.m. So we should be back here right after those games to talk football and, of course, preview games that are coming up on Saturday. Now, we can't leave without, we're Cameroonian. We can't leave without remembering our folks. There's a lot going on in Cameroon outside of the football world. And I just want to quickly mention our hearts go out to the folks killed in Boya a couple of days ago. The actions that are happening out there and all the issues that are going on. And of course, the ladies in Douala or who have been a victim of the accused sexual assault perpetrator, Bobda. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that because I know a few folks have reached out saying we keep ignoring some of these important things, but we are a football show. We want to focus on football, but that does not mean we don't see what's happening. So I just wanted to, take these few seconds to let you guys know we have you guys in our thoughts and praying for you guys and hope everything is good. But we are mostly here to talk football. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again so much for joining us today. As always, please like, subscribe, follow, share, let your friends know, another friend of friends and friends know that we are here. We talk football, and it's a football trio. We are out. Thank you so much. Bye for now, guys. Bye, everybody.
Au
Hey.
revoir.